We really appreciate you all coming to join us here at the right at Lake St. Clair. We're standing by the foot of what we call the 11.5-mile drain. And as you know, I'm a new commissioner here, a new Public Works commissioner. Back in the day, before they called it the Public Works, they called it the Drain Commissioner. And in my brain, I still think of myself as a Drain Commissioner. And we're cleaning out drains. We're in the drain business. Besides different things that are happening with our underground, you're all very familiar with what's going on with the sewer collapse on 15 Mile Road. One of the things that we keep pointing out there is that with all of the heavy rain season that we've had, we have not had to discharge one drop of raw sewage since I took office on January 1st from that sewer collapse into the drains, into the Clinton River, ultimately into Lake St. Clair. One thing in Macomb County, and really this entire region, we are so blessed to live here with the Clinton River, with Lake St. Clair, with these beautiful natural resources that we have. But sometimes over the years we haven't treated Mother Nature as well as we should have. And we just need to make sure that we're not putting any kind of contaminants or pollutants, sewage, what have you, into Lake St. Clair that impacts the water quality of our magnificent Great Lakes, certainly in a very negative way. And so we started looking at these drains. There are three principal drains that we're talking about here today that are very, very large drains. In fact, the opening of this drain is about 12-foot diameter. You can imagine the height of that. These are principally constructed of concrete. This is one that we intend to bulkhead here today and start with, but there are three different drains that are under this particular project. And so one of them is called the Stevens Drain that runs essentially from East Point all the way down, and then it discharges in St. Clair Shores, sort of by Blossom Heath, if you know where that is at, right down a little bit from here. And on that particular drain, by the way, we've begun a little bit of inspection there, and wouldn't you know, we found an entire apartment complex who for over 30 years has been, their raw sanitary sewage is going right into the storm drain. No filter, no nothing, boom, right out into Lake St. Clair. And I called Kip Wabi, the mayor of Mount Clement, or excuse me, of St. Clair Shores, when we saw that, and said, you know, we might know one of the reasons that you're having a difficult time having Blossom Heath, their beach, open to the public. So we thought in that case with that apartment building there was probably about 250,000 gallons a year for over 30 years, raw sewage right into Lake St. Clair. There's all kinds of things that happen that contaminate our water, and you can't just point to one thing and magically say, that's it, we fixed the problem. There's so many different little components to all of this, and so that's really what we're talking about here today with these storm drains. That was one I told you about, Stevens Drain. Now this one is called the 11.5-mile road drain, and it runs essentially at the beginning of the boundary of Roseville, and then runs all the way down here and discharges right behind us, right here in Lake St. Clair. Then there's another drain that also will be part of this 3-drain project. It's called the Hetchler Drain. It runs from Roseville, runs essentially behind the Macomb Mall, and then runs down Masonic, and then discharges at what is known as Memorial Park, Veterans Park, right down Jefferson here. Again, a public beach that has some challenges, that's for sure. So we are looking for whatever. We don't know what we're going to find. And it's interesting to note that this particular drain, actually all three of these drains, they were built back in the late 50s, essentially done at 60, 61. They have never been inspected. Never been inspected for over 50 years, almost 60 years, no inspection. So I don't know what we're going to find, but as I say, we already found one incident. One challenge, and the amount of money that we're spending on these inspections is roughly about $1.6 million for the three of them. And then if we do find any E. coli or evidence of that, we have the ability in our department as the Public Works department to do real-time testing of that at our what we call our Chapaton pump station, which is right down the road here at 9 Mile and Jefferson. So our lab will be able to test that immediately to see if it is E. coli, so we'll be able to immediately see if there is any kind of incident like that going on with the drain. And then I've asked the mayors, Mayor Kip Walby from St. Clair Shores, and Mayor Taylor from Roseville, and Mayor Pixley from East Point. I've told all three of the mayors, we're paying to have this drain inspected. It's all about team and partnering, and if we find something, you got to fix it. And in the case of the apartment building in East Point, Mayor Pixley had a contractor out there, and in a day and a half that thing was fixed. So we are all partnering here together. And I'm also joined by two county commissioners today that represent some of the various areas there, Rob Leonetti and Kathy Toko. And again, we've worked very closely with the County Board of Commissioners and our county executive and our mayors on doing all kinds of various things in the time that I've been here as a Public Works Commissioner. But again, we're very, very interested in making sure that we have clean water, and we know we have a lot of challenges, and we are going to rise up to those challenges and get these things fixed. So what will happen here later today, they'll be dropping this bulkhead behind me down into this drain. The bulkhead, this has been a big part of the expense actually. As you might know, each one of the outlets of these three different drains, not one of them is the same. So we're having to have these bulkheads custom done. And then they will put the bulkhead in, and then they will dewater the drain. And this has been part of the challenge because of the elevation, the configuration of the drain. They're totally full of lake water right now, so you really don't know. I mean, you can't really get in there to look. So we have to bulkhead them off. We have to dewater the drain, which they think will probably take about a day or so to dewater them. And then at that time, they'll be able to start physically walking the drains, videotaping them to see if there's any degradation in the pipe and inspecting them. But what we are really, really very interested in, obviously, is any kind of contaminants that might be getting introduced into the water. So we're very, very enthusiastic about this project. I think it's going to reap big benefits. It already has. And we've got a great engineering team on staff with Fishbeck and Associates. And Joe, who runs Deutsch, we finally got him over here because we've been having him dewater over by the sinkhole, by the interceptor collapse. And but he's on the job here now. So they do great work, and there are very few companies that can do this particular kind of work. And we're very enthusiastic about it. As I say, the team that we have out here and what kind of results we think we're going to get. So with that, I'd like to ask Kip Walby, the mayor of St. Clair Shores here, to give us a few comments.
Well, thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited to think that Candace Miller and the Public Works is being proactive. I mean, the thought that when I came here 50 years it hadn't been inspected was rather shocking to me, to tell you the truth. And St. Clair Shores being the flagship of Lake St. Clair, it is critical that we know what's going into these waters. So we are really appreciative of what she's doing. Two other quick items is that, and I think she highlighted, you know, we're the fiduciary, right? We have a fiduciary responsibility to take care of these waters for the next generation, right? I'm an old man, and so we need to take care of it for our kids, and this is where it starts. And secondly, again, to thank Candace Miller, the communication that has opened up in the last, I guess, 8 months since she came in between the communities and the Macomb County Public Works is, you know, I've been on this body for 18 years, the mayor for 6 years, is incredible. We almost never talk to them, and now we have great dialogue, and the fact that we are going out and we're going to be proactive in finding out what's in our lakes and what's in these sewers is tremendous. So she deserves all the credit, and we are really appreciative of what they're doing. So we're excited to see how it turns out.
Thanks, Mayor.